for me.
2026 marks the 60th anniversary of Nancy Sinatra's debut album, Boots. Released in 1966, the album contained the smash single These Boots Are Made for Walkin' and a collection of songs that perfectly reflect the mid-1960s.
I know you belong to somebody else, but tonight you belong to me.
Nancy Sinatra had been releasing singles on Reprise Records since 1961. It was her dad's label, but she received no special treatment and was told that the records had to pay for themselves for her to stay on the label.
My dad was the head of Reprise Records, and when I wanted to record for the label, he said, okay, as long as you earn your way. In other words, what we spend on your sessions, we have to make back in record sales, or you won't stay on the label. You pay for your sessions and you can stay. So the beginning recordings that allowed me to stay were mostly European hits. They were hits in Japan and Italy and Australia.
Nancy describes the early recordings as bubblegum, and the songs have a very different feel to them than her later, more well-known work. While she had some hits overseas, Nancy was still searching for her sound, and success in her native country remained elusive. In 1964, in danger of being dropped from her label, Nancy was paired with producer Jimmy Bowen. Jimmy had produced records for Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., Dino Desi and Billy, Lee Hazlewood, and many others. Jimmy suggested that Nancy sing in a lower register.
Do you love me? Really love me?
On her earlier singles, producer Tutti Camarata had Nancy singing much higher.
The what I call the bubblegum girl stuff. And then I kind of outgrew that, and that's when Jimmy Bowen put me with, because I was about to be dropped, because my dad meant what he said. And my sales were beginning to disappear. And I was about to be dropped from the label, and Jimmy Bowen said, I have an idea. I'm going to try you with Lee Hazlewood. And he put us together. Jimmy also produced a couple of sessions for me at that point, which also did not do very well. His big contribution to my life was bringing in Bart and Lee Hazlewood.
I forget now if Nancy brought it up or Lee did or I did. One of us had an idea to put those two people together, Nancy and Lee. And I know that Lee's the one who wanted it to happen because he writes the song and he's the producer. And he sat down with me one day and he said, I'd done a couple songs with Nancy, and I kind of did them with a decent-sized orchestra, and Lee said, no, let me produce her out. No big orchestras. I know how to do it for her. So I said, well, let's find out if you do. And you know what? He did.
And he was the one that asked me to, you're talking about Nancy, that asked me to do Nancy, and I said, I'm retired. And he said, well, just, meet with her and see. They said, they're really nice. And then he talked me into going over there and meeting her. We set up a meeting. And she was something. She was just really great personality, smart, bright. And so I signed the thing to work with her. then my retirement went to hell.
A meeting was set up, and Lee arrived at Nancy's house to play her some songs. Lee played So Long Babe and a few other things, but it was really a song about boots that stood out to her. Lee was reluctant to record the song. He said it wasn't a song for a little girl to sing. He really felt like a man should sing it. Nancy explained that it was ugly and chauvinistic if a man sang it, and only a girl should sing it. Despite the enthusiasm for the song, the pair began the recording partnership and chart gambit with Hazlewood's more polite folk rock composition, So Long Babe.
Boots are gonna walk all over you.
While Jimmy helped Nancy on the way to finding her voice, Hazlewood's songs and suggestions helped her create a completely new and unique way of singing. He called her Nasty Jones and told her to sing like a 16-year-old who seduced truckers. Nancy sang the songs with an attitude and sass that was unique and totally groundbreaking at the time. On August 12, 1965, Nancy, producer Lee Hazlewood, and arranger Billy Strange had their first recording session together at United Recorders on the Sunset Strip in Hollywood, California. Nancy was backed by a group of Los Angeles session musicians that would later be known as the Wrecking Crew.
So long, babe. So long, babe. So long, babe. So long, babe. So long, babe.
This younger generation of studio musicians arrived at the perfect time to create new and wondrous sounds with producers like Phil Spector, Brian Wilson, Snuff Garrett, and so many others. The musicians were such a natural fit for Nancy, and she loved them. Players like Don Randy, Hal Blaine, Chuck Berghofer, Carol Kaye, Al Casey would wind up backing Nancy in the studio and on stage for years and decades to come. This was the beginning. During the session, the team cut So Long Babe and If He'd Love Me, a pair of tracks that would become Nancy's next single. Nancy and Lee's gamble paid off, and So Long Babe cracked the Billboard Hot 100 chart at number 86. Nancy had her first hit in America.
I lucked out too fast. And we got a little song that I written for. First got her first chart record, So Long Babe, and then the second little song I wrote for was got her a chart record that blew the top of the charts off as number one for a while. And that, of course, was Boots.
During this time, Nancy was also experiencing a personal style evolution. She went from brunette to blonde with the help of a New York stylist named Amy Green. She started wearing cutting-edge fashions, including early Mary Quant miniskirts, which she brought back from England. And her self-styled makeup was risque and pioneering. With the hit on the charts, Nancy and Lee returned to the studio on November 19, 1965. Lee Hazlewood's plan was to record his composition, The City Never Sleeps at Night, for Nancy's next A-side, and For Some on the B-side. Nancy had other ideas. She kept pushing a reluctant Lee to record These Boots Are Made for Walkin. Session studio player Don Randy remembers them arguing about it in the studio.
It's a woman's song. It's not a man's song, it's a woman's song.
Oh, Lee made me so mad.
You know, it's the first woman's rights song when you think about it.
He said, I want to do the song. I said, you can't do this song. You're crazy to do this song. You've got to let a girl sing this song. It's not for a man. We had a big argument about that, but he let me do it. But that's why it was at the end of the session. And
that's right. She had a fight for it. She did. I was there. I watched them arguing over it.
Well, part of the reason I was so adamant about it was when he played that for me, we were at my mother's house. We were in the bar, and my dad was sitting in the living room reading or something. And afterwards, listening to Lee pick out different songs on his guitar, including Boots, my dad took me aside. He said, it's the one about the boots. I said, I know. He knew.
He knew. Wow. That's wow.
It's the one about the boots. I mean, who wouldn't know hearing that? ding, 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 ding. You know, right in the first few notes.
No, sure.
Lee acquiesced, but only gave the last 30 minutes of the session to record Boots. From the crack of the first take, the electricity was there and everyone could feel it.
Let's keep it nice and easy, Billy. We're rolling. Boots are made for walking. Take one. And quiet hush, please, everybody. I want to get 17 takes, 4-6.
Here we go. Very quiet. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3.
But we all knew.
Oh, it was.
There was a feeling in the room. We just knew it.
That was one of the few times,
Yeah,
that you when as it was going down, you just sat there.
I knew it twice. I knew it then, and I knew something stupid. It's a good feeling.
They cut the master in only a few takes. The single These Boots Are Made for Walking with The City Never Sleeps at Night was released at the end of 1965 and would become one of the biggest songs of the decade. A song that resonates with every generation since its creation. A song that will live forever. The combination of Lee's song and a performance that only Nancy could deliver turned out to be a timeless chemistry. With the song climbing the charts to its eventual #1 spot, Reprise decided it was time for Nancy to record an album's worth of material to pair with Boots. Nancy, Lee, and Billy Strange headed back to United Recorders on January 19, 1966. The prolific session yielded 8 tracks that would fill out the Boots LP. The album had a contemporary folk rock feel, combined with what Nancy and Lee called the dumb sound.
I've been hearing you're concerned about my happiness. But all
Nancy recorded songs by the Beatles,
well, I'd rather see you dead, little boy, than to see you with another.
the Rolling Stones,
It is the evening of the day.
Bob Dylan,
Someone to open each and every door. It ain't me, babe. No, 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 it ain't me, babe. It ain't me you're looking for, babe.
and Lee Hazlewood.
Since I saw you with her, I move around. You're telling me that you'll be true.
Nancy transformed the Knickerbockers' Lies and the Statler Brothers' Flowers on the Wall into Dayglow Go-Go Boot pop confections. The Boots album, released in March of 1966, was a huge success, making it to #5 on the Billboard Hot 200 albums chart. The album's success enabled Nancy to keep recording, including 3 more albums and a pile of singles in 1966 alone. Since its release, Boots has become one of the most iconic pop albums of the 1960s. In 2021, Nancy Sinatra, in partnership with Light in the Attic Records, released the definitive version of the Boots album. The reissue collects all the recordings from the sessions and features 2 bonus tracks, The City Never Sleeps at Night and For Some. The audio was remastered from the original tapes by John Baldwin. The original cover photo was found and restored, giving the cover a 3D depth. The liner notes feature a new Q&A with Nancy all about the Boots era, and the booklet includes never-before-seen photos from Nancy's personal archive.
You keep saying you got something for me. Something you call love, but confess. You've been a messin' where you shouldn't have been a messin'. And now someone else is getting all your best. These boots are made for walking, and that's just what they'll do. One of these days these boots are gonna walk all over you. Yeah. You keep lying when you ought to be truthin', and you keep losing when you ought to not bet. You keep saying when you ought to be a-changin'. Now what's right is right, but you ain't been right yet. These boots are made for walking, and that's just what they'll do. One of these days these boots are gonna walk all over you. You keep playing where you shouldn't be playing, and you keep thinking that you'll never get burned. Ha! I just found me a brand new box of matches, yeah. And what he knows you ain't had time to learn. These boots are made for walking, and that's just what they'll do. One of these days these boots are gonna walk all over you. Are you ready, Boots? Start walking.